They say we're at 300 and like 350 million. I think they're off by another 50 million at least, because in California alone we have, judging by the people that are going, that are sending in notes that they can't go and be a juror because they're not a citizen. Doing the mathematics of how many people is in California, there's at least 11 million people here that are undocumented just in California. So they're undershooting the mathematics of that.
Oh, okay.
So we have a lot more people. So if you take into consideration the Great Reset, and what it would do is you have feast and famine. Well, not feast and famine. You just have starvation. And when you have starvation, you have to start worrying about everybody. It's not the government you have to worry about anymore. We want everybody to have a decent life. We want everybody to the pursuit of happiness. We want everybody to have opportunity. Because as soon as you start taking that away, that's what the Great Reset would do. Is it would take away the opportunity for everybody else that's struggling.
On top of the people who don't have a lot of opportunities because they're undocumented, right?
If they're undocumented, they're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to do this.
Right.
Because when you have less and less, then you're going to have to make something available. And if it's not available, if the man or the woman goes home and their child is crying or starving, what would they do to make their child comfortable? I mean, what would I
Anything
do?
they could.
I would think about what I would do, and that's not pleasant. You know? I don't want to go through that because
survival of the fittest.
Yeah, it's. I don't want people to shop, shop in my home or everything else. That's not safe.
Right,
so
right.
Being safe is making sure everybody has an opportunity. Everybody, we're not here for handouts. We need a helping hand. But we need to give everybody an opportunity, and that's why I do believe in some of this stuff. Like for instance, the one part, and politics just sucks. I don't even want to talk politics. But the opportunity centers, every time he brought something up, he actually would do it. The opportunity centers, he wanted $500 billion to go into the projects. And that was, he wanted to build the suburbs. He didn't want to give more welfare. He wanted opportunity centers to have everybody build up. That's why you had all these people that were high up in the music industry, not all, we're probably talking about 3 or 4, saying, yeah, what he's saying is true. If he actually does it, it's good because he wasn't going to hold people down. He's taking away the enslaved mentality where I'm going to feed you, like Pelosi says, we feed them. No, they're not feeding anybody. They're holding people down, giving them a fraction, just like they did with my parents, my brother, my whole family that's had to play a game and do work on the side because it's never enough to feed your family.
Exactly.
When they took away childcare, and you have a next door neighbor that won't drive you around for $14 an hour and learn a new trade and make $30 an hour after he's done. He says he couldn't afford it because he couldn't afford to work for a couple dollars an hour because after he paid for his child care,
right,
that's all he would be making. So he says he's not going to, he can't afford to drive me around for $14 an hour to learn a new job that he had no skills in, Orlando. And I think that's sad because when you try to help somebody out, he wanted I can't do under the table because everything that I do, they take from me.
Right.
The government takes 48% of whatever the company earns on top of whatever I earn, so that extra bill they passed is another 15% on my personal check.
Right.
And since the company makes over $400,000 a year, that's it's gonna be minimum 20, but basically I'm over 28% on top of that. So the company, so we're looking at an 8% raise, so 48, 49, 50. 56% of my profits of the company is going to go there, and another 15% of my personal checks. So that's what that they passed. And by doing that, how am I supposed to donate my money that I do? Right. Which I do to save money. I mean, it's self-serving. I get it, but they're taking stuff that I can normally donate. So that's not going to help the church. People that need help, But ultimately, yeah, they're not doing stuff structurally for a society that is. A society that becomes productive is self-serving. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people, opportunity centers, like he said, the T word guy, like he said, is we're going to get our money back. $500 million to grow the suburbs, and everything was misconstrued to the point where this guy's racist. And maybe he what he said on some things I hopefully push for, because we don't need more projects. We don't need more people that can't afford to live, or they're being forced to struggle every day.
And that is so true, because it's just like a generational thing
We
that
can't
keep
do
going
it.
into.
My whole family, when I was growing up, and I have a big family, we had contractors and everything else. Everybody was making money, and then after 9/11, 2008 came, maybe before 2008, every single one of these people that gave up, every one of them, they didn't know how not to. So I went through maybe 2 years where I didn't make any money, and then I'm back making money again. But every one of them gave up. They weren't going to work for free. But that's part of the business. Some days you work for free, some days you make money.
True.
You don't always make money. That's just business. But they all gave up, and now they're all on welfare, and they're all collecting, and they're all playing the game. And slowly but surely, their house is falling apart. They're falling apart. They're turning into alcoholics. Their children are going through what I went through growing up. It's not fair. They're killing us.
Mm-hmm.
So opportunity to help people build stable positions to where you have something to work for and your family is thriving is something I think we should look for. And welfare is to help. It's a helping hand. Opportunity centers, as he was saying, is where you give the loans in the areas, and you teach people how to fish. That way you don't have to keep feeding them. Everybody's going to grow up stronger. Everyone's going to be contributing, and we're going to get more tax revenue off of that than we would ever. It's just like a business.
Mm-hmm.
Than we would have ever got from giving somebody something that we can't afford, and then it's not going to help them because slowly but surely they're going to lose everything.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that he was pushing. So everything that he was going for. And I get that I get that he arrogant. I get that he says a lot of stuff. I get that there's a lot of things that I don't agree with. But he was trying to take away everything the Democrats were running on, because he's always contributed to the Democrats growing up, building everything, because he knew that's where he can be most successful. They push all the buttons. They have all the strings. So in order to gain power for the Republicans, he was taken away. He did everything with motive. There's nothing he did that wasn't without motive. The motive was to take away the leverage that the Democrats had over their people. So everything that the Democrats were tallying of what I want to do, he was trying to get ahead of and say, okay, well, you can't say it no more because I'm going to do it. So everything he did was not out of the kindness of his heart. I get that. But a lot of the stuff that he was doing was making sense. And if we would have went more in that direction, I do see, because we saw it was supposed to projected GDP growth 35%. I don't know what it's going to be when you shut everybody down. It's no longer going to be 35%. But what he was he was a bull in a china shop, and they didn't like it, because even though we know Biden stole money and his son, we know every one of them did it because he's not that smart. If you look at him, he's not that smart. His kid and all that. Every one of them, the rhinos, the Republicans, every one of them are guilty, and that's why they needed him out of there, because they're all guilty, every single one of them. And I was talking to my stepdad the other day. It's like, hey, look, you know that Trump's guilty. He is. He's the devil too. He's not where he's at because he hasn't been tempered. He's done a lot of stuff that he should be punished for. But I think God can use anybody. And I honestly think that anybody else under his pressure would have collapsed. Anybody. But because he's been such a devil throughout his life, he knew how to navigate a lot of this stuff. And I think that God can use anyone, no matter who they are.
Amen to that.
Built for this situation.
And that's so true, because you see straight through what you are.
Well, and everyone thinks that I'm a conspiracy nut, because I don't even think that he wanted to be president, and everyone else agreed with me at first. I don't know why they changed their mind later on. I think that he always donated to the Clintons, and I think he was there to pull the Republican vote. And so when he was there and they started saying bad things about him, he didn't like his name or his reputation being drawn down. He started becoming, how people, when you go after them and they go after you again, he's that type of person.
Back and forth,
There's nothing.
It's the ego.
The ego. He's an egomaniac. What he did when they went after him, went after his fruits and went after him, his children, him. I think that his ego got the best of him, and that's why they got into a true war. And I don't think that he would have been president if that was. I think he was going to bow out like everybody else, like Ross Perot, everybody else. He was just there to take the vote so that Hillary would have an easy win, but they thought it was going to be an easy win anyway, so they didn't need him. And I honestly think that was all an accident. He shouldn't have won. There's no way. The news said he wasn't going to win. Nobody said he was going to win. They didn't need to cater to him. But for all his years and his money, and he thought it was free publicity, and so he was okay with it because he was no longer making money by building anything. He was selling his name. So that's why he had to get so good at what he was doing, because he had to try to build the name back, because that's all he had to leave his family, because all the business or his empire, all that was left was putting his name on buildings. That's what he was doing. So when they went after that, that's when he had no choice. And I still think today that's what it was all motivated from.
I believe it.
And well, I do too, but a lot of people don't. And because I believe in pseudoscience too. Just because someone that's accredited didn't tell me that that's the way it is, doesn't mean it doesn't make sense.
Right, exactly. A lot of the times, the accredited people are the ones that are just telling you what everything else wants you to know.
He says he doesn't even care about college degrees. He believes in people's past successes. Would you hire Bill Gates? I mean, if you saw Bill Gates was trying to get a job with you and you didn't hire him, you'd be pretty stupid, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So, and Bill Gates doesn't have a college degree. That was his argument, is you have to look at what their successes are, and if they can build on that. And if you see, just like when you sell a house and somebody's paying rent, if you see that they're paying rent, then it's a good investment. If they're not, then basically you're not going to get as much for your investment. It's stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's how Elon Musk is. And he said he worked every day. He outworked me, that's for sure, didn't he? So
yeah, right? Wow, he's outworked us all.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
You
too.
Get
down the road and go on. But yeah, I still hope that I still hope we look at opportunity centers. I still hope that we can build up and not break down. I don't feel like we should hold people for ransom. I think we should put people.
Because holding people for ransom isn't doing anything. It's just like paying interest on something. If somebody can't afford to pay back the loan that they already took out, and you're compacting the interest on them and just killing them, what's that doing?
Well,
it's counterproductive.
Eddie Mac, when they went into all this stuff and did that, and that was Bush did that, didn't he? Was it under Bush? That was under Bush. Bush also was the one, and they don't like to give Bush credit, but he was also the one. Maybe it was Clinton. No, it was Bush. It was Bush. And then Clinton passed NAFTA, but that was also a Bush bill. That was a Bush bill, and Clinton would have never passed that if it wasn't for him getting caught for what he did. Which isn't even that bad now, is it? So compared to everything that we've seen so far, his fling with
Monica Lewinsky.
That's what it was about.
Yeah.
They tried to impeach him over that. In fact, they did over that, and because he went against his Christian beliefs or something like that, and they said it was against the law. That's what that was about. He got impeached over that little bit of amount, and after everything we've seen from everyone in his bad manners and everything they've done, that seems so minuscule at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah, right.
Feel real. It feels fake. This whole thing just.
That's how I feel about politics, period. I just feel like it's all just construed just for entertainment at this point. Like, I don't even feed into it, but, talking to people like you who are actually knowledgeable on, like, the background things, more knowledgeable than myself.
I sit and drive and think about this crap because I don't watch TV. I hear a little bit, and then my little imagination goes to work. So,
that's the best way to go. I hate television so much. I never even turn the television on.
Yeah. But I better get back to work. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
You too.